Why is a mead that's over 10,000 years old so important today? If you brew at home or commercially, chances are you make melomels, and chances are you make a lot of melomels because they are made more than any other type of mead. But let's go back. What is a melomel? Simply put, it's a mead made with fruit. But really, in my opinion, in practice, it becomes something so much more magical. It's a meeting place between honey, land, season, and fermentation. Fruits add flavor and aromatics, introducing vibrancy and complexity to something that we can see as otherwise fairly basic. And I'll add a quick footnote here because even though what we call a plain or traditional mead of just honey, water, and yeast seems basic, making a great one is actually every mead maker's opus. So, what kinds of fruits can you use to make melomels? Honestly, if it grows, a human has probably tried to make mead with it. So for tree fruits, we have the plum family. Think apples and pears. Then we have stone fruits, peaches, plums, apricots, cherries. For soft fruits, you can use berries, brambles, ribes, vine fruits, and ground fruits. Lastly, there are tropical fruits, which probably shouldn't be in a single category, but for the purposes of this melomel intro, that will have to do. Melomels can be crafted to be sweet, dry, still, or sparkling, depending on the fruit that you've used and really your preference. So the cool thing about melomels is it really is choose your own adventure in Meadland. And beyond flavor and pleasant aromas, fruit also contribute really necessary acids and tannins that can work to balance out the intense sweetness of honey, but also add body, creating a more sophisticated and honestly palate-friendly beverage. But where did they all begin? What is the history of fruit meads? And it's actually kind of cool. So the word melomel itself has ancient roots descending from the Greek words meli, meaning honey, and melon, meaning apple or tree fruit. And the idea here is that it all came together kind of spontaneously, actually, 10,000 years ago, where you've got a puddle, and honey has fallen in the puddle, and there's also a fruit that has fallen in the puddle, with yeast, of course, on the skin. And then, boom, you get this happy accident. So, as civilizations grew and mead making was better understood, melomels evolved from this more or less happy accident into a vital tool for survival. Before refrigeration, summer's abundance of perishable, berries, plums, cherries, and other things truly faced a rapid rot. But by submerging these fruits into high sugar honey and then letting them ferment, ancient and medieval societies were really successfully able to lock in nutrients and calories that would have otherwise been lost. And it's a way of, extending the harvest for the long term winter storage. Also, beyond preservation, the resulting alcohol provided a sterile, life saving alternative to often contaminated water sources. So, drink mead, avoid plague works for me. Because of these health benefits, though, healers frequently infused these fruit ferments with medicinal herbs or mushrooms for remedies and sacred rituals. But it wasn't all merely utilitarian. We know that melomels were also celebrated as a luxurious drink, reserved for grand feasts, and a joyful bridge to span seasonal wine shortages. Run out of wine? There's some mead. As mead making traditions traveled across the globe, the beverage really adapted to the unique geography and climate of each culture. And it's pretty cool. So, in the sun drenched Mediterranean, for example, the Romans crafted something called mulsum, which is a blended grape must with honey. And this will sound really familiar if you've made or imbibed it, as this was, of course, the early ancestor of the grape mead that we call a piment. Farther north, where grapes were challenged to grow due to the unforgiving climate, we have Norse and Germanic tribes turning to the bounty of the forests. So they would incorporate things like blackberries and elderberries and partridge berries, just like the ones that grow here in Newfoundland, into their melomels. Another example comes from Eastern Europe, and all the mead makers are going to be familiar with this one, where Poland forged one of the world's most enduring mead legacies. And I'm referring here to Miot Pitne. I hope I said it well enough. To balance the intense sweetness of their very rich honey, Polish artisans blended it with tart forest juices. birthing, again, timeless regional styles like the cherry-infused Vishniak and raspberry-infused Meliniak. And over the centuries, certain melomel styles became distinct enough to earn their own names. A sizer, for example, is made with apples or cider. A piment, again, we've spoken about before, bridges the worlds of wine and mead. A morat uses mulberries. A rubamel highlights raspberries, and a capsicumel explores the unusual tension between sweetness and heat. And I mean actual chili peppers or jalapenos here. For real, it's a mead and they're delicious. Go try it. Go make it. And so, through every region and era, the story of fruit mead really remained kind of the same, an interesting harmony of resourcefulness, medicine, and celebration. They were also probably delicious as well, so there's that too. Making melomels today is a joy in alchemy and modern brewing science. It's where I get to play and innovate. Most commercial meaderies actually will have more than one for you to try. And the neat thing here is that our melomels are still made very much the same way, where the regions we live in and the climates we live in will typically dictate the types of fruits and the types of honey we select. So I live and brew in Newfoundland, Labrador, and we're known for our wild blueberries, plus our honey is some of the purest in the world. So naturally, my favorite melomel to craft is blueberry. Choosing the fruit variety essentially defines the very, in my opinion, soul and structural blueprint of the beverage. So, for example, throwing in sharp raspberries or blackberries infuses the must with bright, brilliant colors and a really lively, refreshing tartness. As an alternative, opting for more heavy-fleshed plums or peaches introduces complex, almost wine-like depths and a more rounded structural body. But what makes a great melomel? And the answer to this question is why melomels, in my opinion, are truly fascinating, because they aren't just fruit added to mead. They are ecosystems of flavor. The fruit can contribute acid, tannin, pigment, aroma, and texture. The honey brings floral aspects, body, and of course the fermentable sugars. And the yeast, which is often overlooked, and very much like the conductor of a symphony, quietly brings its own character and works to shape the entire experience. Really, it's about balance between all of these things. And while you certainly can't please every palate, a good melomel won't be something you need to focus your mind on to get through it. It shouldn't just be drinkable, but rather feel like a flavor journey with deep complexity and tasty surprises along the way. And I'll finish here with a quote from the godfather of mead himself, Mr. Ken Schramm. More than any other adjunct, fruit adds the opportunity for self-expression and diversity in your mead. It offers the chance for the melding of two of nature's most perfect and complete gifts, fruit and honey. May mead be on your table.